Ridge, or anywhere like here, it's a gyrus, or gyri. Name the groove, a sulcus. However, there are some specific sulci. Name this groove. Central sulcus. This is lateral sulcus. And then you have the parieto-occipital sulcus here in the back. The sulci divide the cerebrum into lobes, right? These sulci divide the brain into lobes. Frontal lobe, so if they ask name the lobe or area, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, occipital lobe. And there's one other lobe. This one is a deep lobe that you have to remove this to see it. The insula. Okay, so that's some of the surface anatomy of the cerebrum. The cerebrum has two cerebral hemispheres, a line in the middle. It's a deep groove called longitudinal fissure. There's another deep groove right here, transverse cerebral fissure. Good, which separates the cerebrum from the cerebellum. Okay, then you do have two important gyri. This is the central sulcus. So the two important gyri are one anterior to it, called the precentral gyrus, and one that's posterior to that sulcus. This one is called the postcentral gyrus. So postcentral gyrus, precentral gyrus. The rest are just gyri. Okay. Then we can open this up, and let's look at just one of the halves. Can you please hold it? Here inside you see the corpus callosum. The septum pellucidum is a structure. The fornix, another structure. If they point here and ask name the structure, it's septum pellucidum. But if they ask name the cavity or chamber, then it's the lateral ventricle. So depending on the question, the same arrow could point here for two or three different things. They could even ask right here for what I said before, which was the interventricular foramen. So that would be an opening. So read the question first. But for the most part, this would be septum pellucidum. Fornix. Anterior commissure. Posterior commissure, the white portion right here, that white section. Just the top. Then we have name the structure, thalamus. Name the space, third ventricle. Name this structure, be specific, intermediate mass of the thalamus. Name this pink line, epithalamus. Name this structure, pineal gland. Name this structure, hypothalamus. Name this structure, optic chiasma. Structure, infundibulum. Structure, pituitary gland. There is one other thing here which is visible more clearly on the other half. Again, this would be thalamus, epithalamus, the pink line, and these purple blue lines is the choroid plexus. Choroid plexus. Here we have hypothalamus. Then the next part is over here. This is the midbrain. However, what they ask for midbrain is the specific parts. Not just midbrain, but rather cerebral peduncle, and some people are calling the tectum. I think that would be acceptable. Or cerebral peduncle. Cerebral aqueduct, corpora quadrigemina, with a superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus. See, there's two bumps on the corpora quadrigemina, superior and inferior colliculus. Again, this was pineal gland. And then pons, medulla, and the spinal cord begins here. Central canal of the spinal cord. Fourth ventricle, maybe on this side. see more better. Fourth ventricle. Okay. Then we have cerebellum. Cerebellum. This structure in the middle, right here, that's the vermis. Vermis. The white lines are arbor vitae. Arbor vitae. And then these ridges on the surface of the cerebellum are called folia. Folia, the ridges. However, the whole structure, name the entire structure, then it's cerebellum. And I guess with this other half, you can open it in half.
Can you see the basal nuclei?
The bit what?
Can you see the basal nuclei in that lump?
No, not really. These are functional areas. Yeah. So you would have to dissect open more.
So that pretty much wouldn't be like part
Pretty
of
much.
practice.
I've never seen that asked. Never have seen that asked.
Okay.
However, you never know. Professor Duran might ask it down. So very unlikely. But you have the insula. The space here is lateral ventricle, and this purple blue lines is choroid plexus also. So you have choroid plexus here, you have choroid plexus here. There's even a choroid plexus in the fourth ventricle. All the ventricles have choroid plexus. So, another thing about this, white matter and the gray matter here is called the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much most important things that you find here. Now, the last important thing with the brain is the nerves. Yeah, the nerves. One way to learn the nerves is learn the order first. However, you have to name them. You can't just put the first, the second, the third. You got to name each nerve. But if you haven't learned the nerves yet, you start by learning the order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's go over those names now. 1, olfactory. 2, optic. By the way, with the optic nerves, this one and this one, you see how they connect right in the middle. The optic chiasma. This would be optic chiasma. So, number 2, optic. Number 3. Now for number 3, you have to remove this to see more clearly. And this would be number 3, oculomotor nerve. This one. This is something else. This is not a nerve. That white button is mammillary body. Okay, good. Mammillary body. Okay, so this would be the third one, oculomotor. Number 4 is right above the pons. And it's this white long one that you see that wraps around the top of the pons. Number 4, trochlear or trochlear. Okay? Trochlear. Then 5, trigeminal. This big stem, trigeminal. The next 3 are almost together. 6, 7, and 8. 6 is abducens. 7 is facial. 8 is vestibulocochlear. Abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear. 6th, 7th, and the 8th. 9, 10th, 11th are also almost together. You can see it either this way, 9, 10, 11th, or you can slightly turn it this way, 9, 10, 11. 9 is glossopharyngeal, 10 vagus, 11 accessory. This is accessory. And then 12 stands alone right here. 12, hypoglossal. So what about these two? What are those?
Those are just spinal nerves.
Spinal, good. Cervical nerves. So C1, C2, I don't know if you have to be that specific, but I would put cervical nerve, cervical nerve. So therefore, this is spinal cord. Yeah, not to be confused with cranial nerves. So that covers all your cranial nerves. Olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, accessory, and hypoglossal. Okay? I think that's pretty much most of what they ask for the brain. Now, questions that they might ask that I haven't mentioned are things perhaps Professor Duran might add to her list. But that's the thing that they ask, and the department likes to make those type of questions.